Arcane Trickster, the magical casting, sneak attacking damage dealer. Isn't quite the assassin, isn't quite a wizard, somewhere in between, and probably a character not really used before. So let's dip into it. We're going to start with the rogue, and for your ASIs, or not your ASIs, your ability scores in general, you want something akin to this. So 16 in dex and 16 in intelligence. Intelligence is your spell casting, and dexterity is going to be your basic attack rolls with bows, weapons, that sort of thing. Constitution at 14, because not only will this affect your health pool, but it's also good for your concentration saving throws. 8 in strength, because in my opinion, rogue doesn't really need strength if you play them well. And then 10 wisdom, 10 charisma, just for those saving throws. If you apply bonuses, 2 in dexterity and 1 in intelligence. For your proficiencies, take whatever you like. Same with your expertise. Okay, rogue is really simple and easy to level up, so we just press continue and we get to rogue level 2, and this gives us our cunning actions, which means our bonus actions allow us to do a hide, dash or disengage instead of using a normal action. Okay, rogue level 3, we get to pick our specialization and of course the Arcane Trickster. Now we get cantrips and spells, but the main cantrip at this point is Mage Hand. So, Mage Hand Legamain. When you cast Mage Hand, the Spectral Hand is invisible and can carry out additional tasks. Now this is really good. It can use things like thieves' tools and stuff to keep you safe. It can collect things. Really good utility spell for an Arcane Trickster to stay at the back. Because I think this is how the Arcane Trickster works the best, is by staying in range. Okay, for your spells at this level, we're going to go with some very, very simple ones. We're going to go with Minor Illusion, to help us really just blend into the background. And in my opinion, the top row, you can go for anything. They're all really good. It just really depends on what sort of damage you'd like to do. If you'd like to be more of an acid one, you have Acid Splash. Bone Chill is Necromancy. Firebolt, Poison Spray, Ray of Frost, and Shocking Grasp. I think Firebolt is probably a little bit better because the damage will scale with your level. I think there are uses for things like Ray of Frost. If you have a sorcerer or a wizard that does cold damage that can encrust people with frost, you can do this as well onto targets to help them boost up to the magic number 7. Shocking Grasp is really good if you have enemies that are wet, an example. It really depends on your playstyle and your team composition. For us, we're just going to take Firebolt. And for our spells, we're going to take Tasha's Hideous Laughter, because I think this is amazing. You basically, if you do this and you succeed, you knock the enemy prone and they're laughing. And once they're prone on the floor, much easier to hit. I would also take Charm Person. Charm a humanoid to prevent it from attacking you. You gain advantage on charisma checks in dialogue. Enemies have an advantage on saving throws against being charmed. Really good spell. I think it's just a little bit better than Sleep because you haven't got to worry about the health hit point scheme of it. So I would go Charm Person. Now when it comes to your expanded spell list, we get one option. And for me, it's between 2 spells. Thunderwave to help push enemies off of bridges and stuff like that. Really easy way to take enemies out of the fight ASAP. This got me through the Draw Ragzlin fight multiple times, and it's such a lifesaver. The other option is Shield. So you're about to be hit by an enemy, increase your armor class by 5. This is really good if you want to keep hold of those concentration spells, because the harder you are to hit, the more likely you are to hold a spell. So I would personally go with Shield. Okay, Rogue level 4, and once again we have access to another spell, and at this point I would take Color Spray. Blind creatures up to a combined 33 hit points. Really good utility spell. And we have access to our first feat. Now, again, this really depends on how you're working it. If you wish to be a dual wielder, then dual wielder itself is a great feat to take. Mobile is another good feat to take. This basically allows you to hit an enemy and then run away. This is going to be more of an archery playthrough though. I would equip daggers though, just because there are some daggers that make the game and your character much better. But we are going to mainly be focused around using a bow. So mobile might not be the most helpful. I also think using a bow is better for keeping your concentration spells. So for me personally, I would do the ASI, and I'd bump my dex up to 18. You could also bump your intelligence, it really depends. The other option is bump your constitution. Any of these 3 is really a worthwhile one to take. You could take the gloves of dexterity instead and leave this at 16 and take your intelligence up. Again, it's really up to you what you want to do. We'll assume you're taking the gloves of dexterity at the moment, based on the level. So let's bump this up to 18. And don't forget, you can always respec with withers. Okay, Rogue level 5, we have unlocked Uncanny Dodge. So use your lightning quick reflexes to protect yourself. When an attack hits you, you can take half the usual damage. Just another way to tank your squishy little rogue up a little bit. Okay, Rogue level 6, this has no additional benefits at this stage. We do get one more expertise though, so take what you will. Okay, Rogue level 7, we have access to more spells, but we also get evasion. Your agility lets you dodge out the way of certain spells. When a spell or effect would deal half damage on a successful dexterity saving throw, it deals no damage if you succeed, and only half damage if you fail. Again, just another good way of avoiding AoEs and stuff like that, really bulking up your character, really helping you keep those constitution or concentration spells going. Now I have access to more spells here, and my favourite options are Blur. Attacks have disadvantage on attack rolls against you, but with your dexterity and with your shield and all that stuff, Blur might be a bit of a wasted spell, especially if you're really hard to hit. So, Hold Person and Mirror Image are my two favourites. Really, these are interchangeable. We will be taking both. It kind of depends on which one you want first. So Mirror Image will allow you to create 3 duplicates, and each one increases your armor class by 3. Really good way of just adding 9 to your AC. It lasts 10 turns, and once you get hit, one of them disappears, and so on and so on. Hold Person is, of course, a concentration spell, and you just hold a humanoid still, and if you succeed, all attacks on that enemy are critical hits. Okay, Rogue level 8, we have another new feat, but we also have access to more spells. And as you can see, we have many more options here. At this point, as I said, Mirror Image, really good spell that I would take. You could hold off on this though, and take Misty Step, for example. Now, Misty Step is amazing, but there are items that give you Misty Step, so if you choose to use one of those, you might not want to use this spell slot for this. Cloud of Daggers is really good. Conjure a cloud of spinning daggers that attacks anyone inside. If you can put this in a choke point and have enemies walk through it to get to you, really, really strong stuff. Because this is expanded spell list, I wouldn't take Mirror Image. I would go with either Misty Step, with Cloud of Daggers, or maybe even Crown of Madness, depending on how you want to play the game. Now for your ASI, once again, bump your intelligence up. We're going to take this all the way to 20. Okay, Rogue level 9, and this is one of the key benefits of this. While you're hidden, your targets have disadvantage on saving throws against your spells. Really, really powerful, because now they have to roll twice and take the lowest amount as long as you are hidden. Okay, Rogue level 10, we have access to another feat. We also have another cantrip. At this point, again, take whichever one of these you think is best. We're just going to be a bit spicy and take Acid Splash. And then for a spell, Mirror Image. Okay, for a feat, again, stick with the ASI. And I would take your Constitution up to 16 to help with those saving throws and to keep your concentration. Rogue level 11, Reliable Talent. When you make an ability check with a skill you're proficient with, the lowest result you can roll on the die is 10. Really powerful. For your spell here, Invisibility or Blur, I would personally take Invisibility just because it's got much more utility to it. And our final level, level 12, we have one more feat. And this one is, some people will say it's a bit of a waste. I personally do not think so. I think it's very, very needed here. You could obviously mix this up and take something different if you wish to, but I'm going to take Resilient Constitution. So, increase your Constitution by 1. So unfortunately, we are going to have a 17, which doesn't give us a positive to it, but gain proficiency in Constitution saving throws. Okay, so that is our build. Let's go over some equipment. Now, my character is using the Divination Cloak. So when you poison a foe, heal yourself for 1d4 hit points. Really, really good because you have got a bunch of toxins and elixirs you can put on, and this will really help you heal yourself while having battlefield control with your concentration spells, while dealing extra damage with your bow. Your other option here would be the Cloak of Protection, and you can throw this on and it will give you a +1 to your AC. As you can currently see, our AC is a 19. Throw that on and you'll be bumping it up. For shoes, I really like the Evasive shoes. Again, +1 to Acrobatics and a +1 to Armor class. Obviously, a higher Armor class equals more chance to hold on to your spells. For gloves, I really like the Stalker gloves. So, You gain a +1 bonus to your initiative rolls, and your sneak attack deals an additional 1 to 4 force damage. Really good at just getting an extra die of damage on your sneak attacks. When it comes to armor, I really like the Penbrule armor. So it's a 12 armor class, because unfortunately we are only proficient with light armor. But while obscured, the wearer gains a +3 bonus to stealth checks. When it comes to rings, I really like the Caustic Band. Your weapon attacks do an additional 2 acid damage. Just a nice little way of just adding a little tiny bit of damage per attack. The Strange Conduit Ring, while concentrating on a spell, and you should be concentrating on spells with this build, the wearer's weapon attacks do an additional 1 to 4 psychic damage. Again, couple these together, so if you can do the Strange Conduit Ring, coupled with your Stalker Gloves, coupled with the Caustic Band, that's up to 10 base damage extra, just for having these equipped. For an amulet, I really like the Strange Tendril Amulet, because I really like Envard's Black Tentacles. I think it's such a great conjuration spell to have. Just slows people down entirely. You could also take the Necklace of Elemental Augmentation, but I don't think this is quite as powerful, because this would only really work when you're doing Firebolt or Acid Splash. Right, when it comes to daggers, despite being a ranged build, we are going to have some short swords equipped, and in this case, we have Ambusher. So we can forget the Ambusher streak, unfortunately, but it does give us a +1 bonus to initiative and advantage on perception ability checks. We're also going to take Bloodthirst, so improved critical, this bumps our critical chance down to a 19, and this works with the bow, and because it is our offhand, when a creature misses you in melee attack, you may retaliate and gain True Strike. It also boosts your armor class by 1. Now, depending on the race you pick, you might end up with proficiency with martial weapons. I took human because they're very flat and they don't have any extra bonuses like a tiefling has, like Hellish Rebuke and things like that. Human, very, very just baseline, no extra stuff like that. So, if you have a proficiency with your martial bows, then the Dead Shot is the one to go. The number you need to roll a critical hit is reduced by 1. This again stacks, so this and the Bloodthirst now lower your critical chance to an 18 instead of a 20. It also deals your proficiency bonus when rolling ranged attacks with this weapon unless you have disadvantage. Really, really strong bow. Because we are stuck with short bows, the two I really like is the Hunting Shortbow. You can get this very early on, and it have advantage on monstrous type enemies, but it also gives us access to Hunter's Mark, which is a concentration spell that will do an additional 1d6 damage per hit. Or the Darkfire Shortbow. This grants us resistance to fire and cold, and the Haste spell. Another concentration spell that gives you 2 actions per turn, and I really like this spell. Now, that is our equipment sorted for this build. Let's go and find some combat, and I'll show you how this works. Okay, we are in the fight. So, as stated, this whole build works around being hidden. Now, unfortunately, if we were to try and hide here, we'd probably get seen because we are kind of surrounded. So let's come over here a little bit, and let's just see if as a bonus action we can hide. Didn't think so, we'd have to try it from above, which is okay. So, what we can do is cast Haste. And again, this is a concentration spell. You can do it on your allies, you can do it on yourself, however you want to. Let's just do it on ourselves for now. Because as stated, we are going to try and remain at the back. And this gives us access to our sneak attack. Now, sneak attack only works if you have advantage on enemies. And advantage, the easiest way to get it, is to have a melee person next to an enemy, and then that will give you advantage, and therefore sneak attack. Just like that, and you'll see we did a bunch of damage thanks to our gloves, thanks to our ring, and all sorts. Okay, as you can see, they've tried to take a hit at us, and we can expend a spell slot to use Shield. Therefore taking no damage and keeping our concentration. And there you go, more Shield. Really coming in clutch. Okay, so, because of our low amount of spell slots, we haven't got anything above a level 2. But we can do Hold Person, like I said. And there you go. Really good utility spell, as long as you keep your concentration up, and there are ways to protect your concentration. For example, we do have proficiency, we have shield, we're hiding at the back. There are more to do this. The benefit of this now is, our rogue is in control of a big damage dealer being stuck. As you can see here, they're trying to attack us. We can do a shield, and therefore no damage. So we've remained concentrated, and now every hit is guaranteed, and it will be a crit. Just like that. So as you can see, we've now just killed them, and this is the easiest way to control the battlefield, is to leave your Arcane Trickster behind, casting spells that can benefit the rest of your party. So once again, we can come in with another whole person if we were to choose to. We could target these people if they were in range. We could do the one up here. Our other option is we have other items we can do. So if we throw up a cloud of daggers, for example, just here. Again, it is another concentration spell, but now we have a damage dealing section here. And if they want to get into range to attack people, there's a good chance they'll have to run into it. And from there you can just run out. You could try and use your bonus action to hide. It did indeed fail, that's okay. Because we still have our spell slots available to hide from our shield. And you can see there, had to run through the daggers to try and get to us. So there's really good ways you can use these spells to your advantage, because essentially we just managed to deal damage to 2 enemies with 1 move. As a rogue, really, really good stuff. And there you go, just extra damage there. Again, more Cloud of Daggers damage. And it's now our turn. Now, they are out of the Cloud of Daggers, so it makes sense to now just cancel it. And we can do that in turn by casting something like Envar's Black Tentacles, because that's what we were using. So if we were to just throw that up here, and you can see they are now fully stuck in the tentacles, and we can run to some form of safety down here. And if we had the ability to, we could use a bow or something. Instead, we can just try and hide. Or not. And we have such a good AC and so good at dodging that they're missing all their attacks, which means concentration is never breaking. So you see there, to get out of the Envar's Black Tentacles, they voluntarily jumped off the building, taking 5 damage, tried to hit us, and we can do another casual shield and protect ourselves. And this is before we've even done things like mirror image and that sort of stuff. And once again, we are back to our turn, and we can just take a pop shot, and because we have people in melee, once again we can hit a sneak attack, and we've killed them, and we're still concentrating on the tentacles affecting these guys here.
My turn.
And there you go, as you can see, they take damage from being in the tentacles. So we are down to the last person, who there is a good chance we will be able to kill from over here. If I can see it properly. Good thing we can dash, there we go. Now do we have, yes we do. Because they are stuck in the tentacles, we can strike them with a sneak attack and finish the job. And that is why the Arcane Trickster is a really powerful subclass that you might not be using. Really good at holding down the battlefield, damage dealing as well. Really, really good versatile build. Now please just be aware that if you do take a short rest, your spell slots do not come back. It's just something to bear in mind, but the chances of you using all those spell slots in a fight like I just did, because I was just demonstrating, very, very slim. You might go through a lot of your level 2 ones just for the sake of hold person, but if you can change that up with things like haste from the Darkfire shortbow and Envar's Black Tentacles from our necklace, you can make your spell slots go a lot further until you need to long rest. If you have enjoyed this build, please let me know in the comments below. What would you change about it? Let me know as well. If you have enjoyed, please drop the episode a like, it helps me amazingly. If you're new and not subscribed, if you'd like to, that'd also be amazing, and hopefully see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.